It was all quiet on the Western Front. And then Knott's released this. And just in case people couldn't understand the Roman numerals or the weird old English font, they clarified it this morning, June 1st, with this. And now everybody's speculating. Nonetheless, this tweet kind of sparked something in me, and I kind of want to go over the off-season of Knott's Scary Farm to date, because I think it might be important to kind of just go back down that rabbit hole and see if we can find any kind of Easter eggs or clues that maybe they left there that we weren't looking for before. And in hindsight, you know, it's always 2020. So let's try that. About a week ago, Knott's announced the dates for the auditions for their scare actors, which is going to be the 16th, the 17th, 24th, and the 25th of June. So that's going to be coming up in a couple weeks. If you ever wanted to be a scare actor for a really cool place, why not do it at the oldest and best haunt in town? They also announced that they were going to be holding auditions for pop rock singers for a new show that's going to be going on. So Pump It Up is gone. That was in the Walter Knott Theater. They're going to be replacing it with something else, which seems like it's going to be some sort of rock opera. I'm not fully sure. They haven't really said anything about what it's going to be, as well as what they're going to be putting. I don't know if they're going to be putting the circus back out on the Calico stage. Again, their lips are sealed with a lot of that stuff. So throughout the month of May, Knott's released a bunch of storyboards from old past mazes that he either made it or didn't make it. A lot of these included stuff like Lore of the Vampire, Kingdom of the Lounge Lizards, House of Maniacs, Curse of the Werewolf, Santa Claus Mountain, Toon Territory, and Alien Attack. Some solid mazes, so I've heard. I still consider myself kind of a somewhat novice to Scary Farm. I've only been 4 or 5 times, but in those 4 or 5 years, I've learned that Knott's Scary Farm is the real deal. So what are the odds that any of these houses see the light of day again? Well, probably kind of high, because as of right now, I've only seen 3 or 4 of the houses that were used in the last year that are going to be there still. That's, of course, Mesmer, Bloodline, and the Depths. Probably, I'm assuming they're going to redo Grimoire also, but all I could see was a back wall, and there's obviously no set design or anything on that back wall. However, that leaves a lot of property around the park to be filled with something new or old and revamped. So along with the 666 tweet, they also announced that at Midsummer Scream this year, they're going to be taking the Saturday spot for their panel. And they announced they're going to have 3 guest speakers at that panel. One is going to be Ted Doherty, who's a Scary Farm historian, and he's a show writer for Scary Farm. Ken Parks, who is Cedar Fair's corporate director of creative development. And someone that's I think is kind of cool is John Cook from Plague Productions. He was the attraction designer for Dark Ride and the Depths. And I don't know if you remember those mazes in their heyday when they first graced Scary Farm with their presence, but those were some killer mazes. In fact, the first year I went, I believe, I think it was the year that the Depths actually debuted. And of all of the haunts that I had gone to that year, the Depths was by far number one, mainly because I remember the utilization of the laser light and the fog to create like a water-like, almost a wall that you couldn't see through. Over the years, they've kind of neglected that room, which is a little bit of a shame. And I think that's why I look down on the Depths as much as I do now, because I remember the potential that it had. And I remember how great it was walking across the rickety bridge onto the ship that would move, and, you know, the crew of the Flying Dutchman kind of throughout the end there. It was a great story, and it was top-notch production design. And I'm actually very excited to hear what John Cook has to say about this year, because I think if he's involved in anything else, that's a good thing. In March, Not Scary Farm also started doing their Nightmare Knockout bracket. Which included a bunch of different mazes that they had throughout the years that they kind of went up against each other, and then they let the voters decide which one should move on. That was won by Trick or Treat Lights Out, and I'm assuming that wasn't just for entertainment purposes. I'm assuming all of this is for a reason. A lot of these big haunts that have large followings have a tendency to use their social media platform as a sort of focus group amongst the fans and the followers. And I think that they're doing these for a reason. They want to get our opinion on what we thought was some of the best work that they had done from the past 50 years. And it would only make sense to, bring some of those back, right? Maybe revamp them and bring them back for people. And this is the year to do it. This is going to be a big year. I think the tight lips are a good play, because when they release just small little breadcrumbs, people go wild for it, and the speculation runs rampant. And I think they thrive in the chaos. I think they have some really cool things planned. I think a lot. We're just going to have to wait and find out. If you haven't gotten tickets to Midsummer Scream yet, you should. Andrea and I are going to go probably Friday and Saturday in hopes that maybe we can get some more information on what's happening. Until then, I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled in hopes for some clues here and there.